Oh look, Liam Neeson can still make something other than a generic taken action movie. Who knew? Ordinary Love is brought to us by directors Lisa Barris-Dessau and Glenn Labor. We follow Tom and Joan, played by Liam Neeson and Leslie Manville respectively. Tom and Joan are a middle-aged married couple that are still in love. Better yet, ordinary love. One day, unfortunately, Joan discovers a lump on her breast, which turns out to be breast cancer. So Tom and Joan face this terrible situation like they do everything else, together. And we get to see the trials and tribulations of going through a terrible situation like this and how it weighs on every single aspects of the people involved's lives. Tom and Joan are no strangers to tragedy, seeing as how they lost their daughter years ago. Their love was able to survive through that terrible tragedy. However, it is once again put to the test. And for the first time in a long time, it leaves both of them wondering if they're gonna make it through this thing together. Ordinary Love is a little movie that came out earlier this year that I missed. I recently had an opportunity to finally see it, and this is a powerful movie. Now, anybody who's watched my channel for any amount of time knows that I don't just seriously throw words out there like that arbitrarily. But this was absolutely a powerful, beautiful, very meaningful movie. I have watched people in my life whittle away from this terrible disease. And I've seen not only what it does to the person that has it, but the people around them as well. And that's what this movie's about. Not just the disease itself, but the effects of the disease on the person who has it and the people around them, namely her husband and their relationship. Tom and Joan clearly have a very strong bond. They're very much in love and it's very apparent. But it's not like that Hollywood fake kind of love. This is a very real depiction of a relationship that's been ongoing for a long time. Albeit a relationship that still has love in it. Neeson and Manville's chemistry here is absolutely fantastic. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that these two were married in real life and had been for years. This is one of the most natural depictions of real love that I've ever seen on film. Regardless of everything else in the movie, with this part of it, these guys knocked it out of the park. And that's a good thing because that part of the story is kind of the backbone of the entire movie. This disease really tests the limits of their relationship. Neither of these people is perfect and they both have their selfish moments. But at the end of the day, you can see that they still love each other and want what's best for one another. It's no surprise that cancer is difficult on the people that have it. I don't think anybody doesn't know that. Nobody's combating that fact. And we see that in detail here. We see how it wrecks Joan's life and also some other people that she meets in the film. However, another part of the film that I really did like and think was very powerful is how it shows how the disease wrecks the people's lives around you as well. You can clearly see that Tom is trying to do everything that he can, but he just doesn't know what to do and just feels kind of useless at times. He feels helpless, like there's nothing that he can do to make anything better, and he desperately wants to. But over time, the effects of this disease just wear on everybody who's involved with it. They'll both get angry, and they're just angry at the world because this is happening, and they don't know who to project it to, so naturally they project it to the person who's closest to them, which would be their significant other. I loved that they showed this, because this was a very natural and real reaction to a situation like this. We'd all love to say that if we were in a situation like this, we would be nothing but just the perfect person and help at every single turn. But after months and months and months of living with something like this, emotions run wild and you're just pulled to the end of your rope, and that's what we see here. There are times when these characters are at the end of their rope and they just lash out, and that's okay because it's human, it's natural, it's normal for these types of things to happen. It's not the fact that they lashed out at each other, it's what they do afterwards that really counts. Our performances all around are great. As mentioned earlier, the chemistry between Liam Neeson and Leslie Manville is absolutely fantastic. You believe every aspect of these two's relationship, and you feel every bit of happiness and pain that they have throughout this film. Both of them did a fantastic job, but there are some scenes here that Neeson in particular just knocked out of the fucking park. I do have to wonder if he pulled from the actual real life tragedy of his wife dying for some of the moments in this film, because they are heartbreakingly real, and not like that cheap kind of real that we get in some movies where it's set up and then they like gut punch you to get a tear. No, this is some genuinely earned, very real heartbreak here. But it's not all bad either, and that was another thing that I really liked about the film. It's a movie dealing with cancer, so you know it's gonna have some hard moments. However, I thought it was great that the film showed that even though these characters are dealing with this terrible, awful thing, they still have moments moments of levity. They tried to make the best of the situation. They didn't just lie down and take it and wither away. They still tried to live life. Life had to go on even though this terrible thing was happening. I thought this was a really good message that the movie showed, that even though this awful thing's happening doesn't mean that you have to just have a terrible life now. You make your own rules. You make the best of the life that you have, even though there is something bad in it. You've also got good things in it, and you need to lean on those things during these times. Guys, I don't want to say too much more about Ordinary Love because I don't want to ruin the experience for anybody who hasn't seen it. But just know that this is a fantastic drama. It's got some really tough parts, and it's got some really hopeful parts. A fantastic, realistic, small little story, some absolutely wonderful performances that the whole movie rides on, and is overall just a wonderful film that will leave you with some feelings, and regardless of what those feelings are, they will be real. And because of that, Ordinary Love is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
This is a wonderfully directed and acted film, but it's also one that you do have to pay attention to. It's not one that you can be doing other things and have it going on in the background. So set about an hour and a half aside one night and give this one a shot, and I think you won't be disappointed. So there it is, guys, my review of Ordinary Love. If you enjoyed, want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Glasgow.
Do you notice anything different about the soup?
Is this a quiz? If I get it right, do I get another bowl of soup?
I want you to get it right. That means what I did worked.
I'm going to get it wrong on purpose, Lynn.
And I'll go ahead and warn you that there are some moments in this movie that, well, you know, kind of get the emotions high and could have some choke up a bit. So if you're one of those out there who's susceptible to all that crying and stuff because you got tear ducts or whatever, you know, I'm just saying, you might want to have some tissue or something around. Just for those of you that are susceptible to that type of thing. Not that I would know anything about that, of course. Not at all. It's fucking allergies, man.